Is there any instance where an organ transplant is moral? Not for me, that's for sure. Now, is there any instance where there's organ transplant is moral from the point of view of donation by brain death? Here's the way it is, that organs need oxygen and circulation all the time to stay healthy, all of our organs. And when an organ doesn't have circulation and thus doesn't have oxygen, it gets damaged quickly. And how quickly does it get damaged? Everyone who has taken a CPR course knows that they drill it into your heads that you've got to do something right away in 4 to 5 minutes. The reason for that is that in 4 to 5 minutes, the heart or whole liver are so damaged that you can't transplant it. They call that the warm ischemic time, the body normal warm temperature and without circulation. The warm ischemic time for a kidney is about 30 minutes. So there's a little more time there. Theoretically, could they get a kidney out in 30 minutes? Perhaps. How long does it take to get a heart out? It takes about an hour to get a heart out. How long does it take to get a liver out? About 3 hours. During which time you have to have circulation and beating heart. Is there any way to get a heart for transplant? Morally, no. Is there any way to get a whole liver for transplant? No. Now, once you get away from there and you get into one of 2 kidneys and part of the liver, for quite some time, that seemed to be okay to me. And then I went to a meeting in Atlanta, and the nephrologist was talking about kidney function. And he said kidney function is at its maximum at the age of 20. And it goes down about 1% per year, so that by the time we become 70, we have 50% of the kidney function that we had when we were 20. And so if we have 2 kidneys and one gets cut out, we now have 50%. And so that if a 20-year-old gives one of his 2 kidneys, he now has the kidney function of a 70-year-old. Now, 70-year-olds do okay, on our kidneys, but we don't do the same things that 20-year-olds do. And then what's left can compensate. Like if you exercise, muscles get bigger. You can see that. So kidneys can compensate. So I leave a little bit of room for kidneys, but not much because it's mutilation of the body. And the Catholic Catechism says that in organ transplantation, you cannot cause death or disabling mutilation. Now, they don't define what disabling mutilation is, and I don't claim to know all the answers. And so I leave a tiny bit of room there, but for my own self, there wouldn't be any room. But there might be for somebody else. How about part of the liver? Part of the liver, the liver has a way to, first of all, the circulation of the liver, there's the main hepatic artery, the main liver artery, and it goes into right and left, and there's a way to divide the liver and take part of it out. And then what's left grows bigger and in some ways compensates for it. Well, it wasn't too long ago in the newspaper you read about a man who gave part of his liver to his brother, and the donor died in the process. And the recipient of the liver died about 6 months later. So you had a family that had one had liver disease, the other had a healthy liver, and then you end up with 2 dead people. So then they investigated and they find out that he wasn't the first one to die. There were 5 others who died from taking part of the liver out. So there are these things, and the Catechism says that you cannot use words like undue risk or disproportionate risk or things like that. So is there any way to get a heart or a liver in a moral way? No. The other things, I'll leave a little bit of room out, but there would not be any way for me from the study that I've done. But if my wife were here, or my, when I'd say something to her, how simple it seems to be, she said, yeah, but you study it all the time. That kind of thing. So I leave room for people who might not have done as much study on these things as I have. But I leave no room for heart transplant. The only way you get a heart for transplant is to get it from a living person, and in the process the living person is killed. Okay.